Welcome back to the Pastor Study. I hope you're having a great week and enjoying this time of preparation for Easter Sunday. We're in the middle of Holy Week. It is a time the church has traditionally set aside for reflection, preparation, worship. Historically, we held Love Feast on Maundy, Thursday, the mandate, the commandment to reenact Jesus' breaking of bread with his disciples, washing of feet, and sharing a meal. In some cases we talk about this as a Passover meal, in others not quite so much. The truth is, Jesus celebrated the Passover with his disciples and told us to repeat certain aspects of this, including the washing of feet, the sharing of meal, and the breaking of bread. We come to the Lord's table as part of this, and this is part of the story of Holy Week. We do this because it reminds us that we are Jesus' disciples, his students. We learn from his example, from his actions, from his words. You know, in the modern concept of education, we tend to disconnect the educator from the subject material. I don't ever really remember my professors in college connecting how they lived with what they taught. Now, in some cases, there were little bits of crossover, but for the most part, this is the subject matter, and this is my personal life, and the two don't mix. But in Jesus' teaching, his disciples walked with him, stayed with him, he with them. Life and education were tied together closely. And as a result, Jesus was an example. Yes, there was his teaching, but there was also his example of how he lived, how he dealt with his students and the people that were there and present. And so as we come to the Last Supper, this Seder meal, this Passover meal, yes, Jesus is the ultimate Passover lamb. But he still ate with his disciples, even with those who he knew would betray him shortly. Whether we're talking about Peter 3 times before the cock crows in the morning, or Judas, who would ultimately accept 30 silver pieces to betray him. Jesus ate with them. He washed their feet. They shared food and fellowship and prayer. He knew them. And they knew him. So we come to Easter. And remember, Jesus came to the cross knowing us. Not because we were perfect, not because we earned his respect so he was willing to die for us. No, nothing like that. He did this because he loves us. He sought a way to bring about our redemption, to ransom us, to save us. Whatever verbiage you want to employ, it doesn't really matter. It was an act of love. And it by itself is an incredible thing. But it's also Jesus' example of how we are to love even our enemies. Jesus going to the cross is not just the act of love for the whole world. It's not just our redemption, our salvation. It is also closely tied with how Jesus loves his siblings, disciples, whatever word you want to use. It's his example of how he loves us. And as his followers, we are to embrace loving people the same way. That means you and I, as we think about what it means to be a follower of Jesus, it means we're willing to sacrifice for those who don't love us. to those who don't care about us, for those who would rather see us dead. That's what Jesus did. And so we, his followers, embrace the same kind of life. I challenge you to dig deeper into the Easter story this season and let Jesus, not only his words, but his example, speak powerfully to you. Peace.